So the question that I have for you ladies is, what inspired you to write? Was there like a specific aha moment, or was it a specific experience that happened that made you want to start writing?
Spirit say, you're incarcerated but free. And I said, well, what does that mean? He said, you're incarcerated but free. And so I took that title because at the time I was newly in the ministry and I was writing my messages, and so that was one of the titles of one of the sermons that I preached, Incarcerated but Free. But from there, he kept downloading information into my spirit, and I just kept writing things. And I mean, I would have notebooks all over the place, just writing stuff. He kept giving me topics to write on and getting information. So he gave me the title, Sitting in Church, and I kept putting it off. So the notebooks that I was writing information in, they were just compiled all over the place. And so finally, I heard him say, you need to write a book. And I was like, write a book on what? He said, it's the Incarcerated but Free book. He said, I've given you the information, you just know how to put it together. So that's how I ended up coming up with the book.
To write nothing. I didn't want to write. I did not want to write. I would see other people, and they have their finished book, and I'm like, oh, good for you. I was, genuinely happy and proud. I'm like, don't nobody want to hear what I got to say, at least I didn't think so. And so when I first started writing, it was just knowing your worth, but that's so boring, and it was like super sweet and sugary and cookie coated and all these, and God was like, no ma'am, no, I need you to be who you are. And so I'm like, nothing about me is subtle. I'm extra. And so when I started writing, I was going through a really rough period of my life, and so for me, it really was healing, to be able to write down things that I had went through in my childhood, and just, when you're writing, you're going back in your mind about what happened. And I have a daughter that's 16, and I have a niece that's 16, and they're really close. And I have a son that's 23, but the girls, more so, young people here, but young women, is my passion. That's where my heart is. And so that was like my motivation. But God really, I really wrote the book out of obedience. Because like I said, I had no desire to write. And once I started writing, I couldn't stop writing because I was beginning the healing process. It opened up a lot of wounds, good and bad. But I'm thankful for that process, because I've been able to share and be transparent. Transparency is life. When we stop sweeping things under the rug and we really start to walk into the dealing process so that we can heal, it makes all the difference in the world. So I won't say I was inspired to write. I just did it out of obedience, but so thankful that I've been able to do it.
I wanted to retire and do nothing. I just wanted to take care of me. But I had not healed, and I didn't realize that. So I have a very dear friend, Shatrice Buchanan. She's a five-time cancer survivor. She texted me on January 18, 2016, these words, have you started writing yet? That's all she would text me. And that night I started to write Broken Wings. I did. And I took my laptop out and I just started to type. And it took me 4 months to finish the book. And so then I realized in the writing that it was therapeutic. It helped me with the grief, because I lost my son in an accident. I did. Even though he's with me, the son that I initially had, he's totally different, a totally different child now. But I didn't have the time to grieve. I had to just pick up and go with the new child, keep going. And so then through the process of being mishandled and not knowing where to go and where to turn for resources, all these doors started opening where all these people started coming. And I started meeting all these brain injury survivors and caregivers and family members who didn't know how to get resources. I was like, okay, that's it. That's why I'm supposed to do this. And so then from that, one book after the other was birthed. It was like it didn't stop. God just kept downloading, kept downloading, kept downloading. And I would just find myself writing. I wrote affirmations for the mind, body, and soul in 30 days. Oh, because when you have that, something that you're supposed to be doing, you may not know, you just be obedient and do it. The revelation will come as to why you're doing it eventually. So,
I've just learned to deal with things. You know, Anika brought it up today. You just deal with things, but it doesn't mean you heal. And so when I started doing the Unstoppable book, and I had to sit down, I actually did a recording and went through my, went through my life, and during the recording, I kept crying. And it's like, Linda, you've dealt with this. What the hell is going on, you know? And I realized that, no, I hadn't healed myself, if that makes sense. And so I'm talking about my husband's illness, and I'm talking about what I went through, and I realized that I was in autopilot for those 4 months because that's how I could survive. But then it was my daughter's suicide attempt. And then it was walking into Christmas in retail. And so I stayed at that level of survival and just taking it all in. And I've had people, tell me over the years, you should write a book, you should write a book. Or why does everything always happen to you? You know? And so through this process, this 20-year growth thing that I've been on, and finally, when I started going over my story, realizing that there's messages in there that I was missing, but there's also messages that I can give out. And so I think I didn't want to write a book. I didn't want to face it. You know, it's all done, deal, gone, let's move on. That's my Betty Joe, my mom, telling me you deal with it and you move on. But there's no healing. And how can you share your story if you're not healed? Because you're not learning. So like coming here to Alabama, and I mean, I so admire all of you for your faith and talking about downloads and all that kind of thing, because that's not part of my life, you know, or how I was brought up. But it's like, I woke up one day and I went, I have to come to Alabama. I had no intentions of coming to Alabama. My memory of Alabama is the 1960s. It's George Wallace.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't understand hate. You know, I'm on the West Coast in the most liberal state, you know, and it's like, what the hell's going on? I don't understand it.
Yeah.
You know, people are people.
Yeah.
And so, but there was a reason for me to be here. And there's a reason why I told Anika that whatever she needs, I will be there to support her and help her in getting this movement out there.
Amen.
Because women need to heal. Women need to know that they don't need, and I'm not a man hater, but they don't need a man to be whole.
That's true.
They just need themselves.
Amen.